Hey, what's up guys? It's your boy Dig Dash and I'm back with another video. In this video we're going to be focusing on the GameCube and how well the Dreamcade replay runs GameCube games. So first and foremost, the Dreamcade front end I'm not a big fan of. It's very problematic. Sometimes the controllers don't work. I'm using an Xbox 360 controller. Sometimes it doesn't pick it up. Sometimes it's quite laggy. And in this case, it has issues loading up the emulator and loading up the game. So, yes, it sparked up the emulator and it's loaded up the game, but you can't access the game because the controls have gone to pot. So I have to, in order to run this game, I have to run it outside of this Dreamcade front end, which means I have to drop back out of it into Windows. This device runs Windows 10, 64-bit. I have to come completely at the front end in order to run this game using Dolphin. And Dolphin, the emulator which emulates GameCube, is the emulator of choice that you use within the front end. So yes, a bit of back and forth. We're using the same emulator, except it works within Windows 10 without the front end. The front end causes the issue. So as you can see, it's loading, it's completely frozen. Not having any luck with it, so I have to drop back out of it, back into Windows, in order to run the game, to demonstrate the game and how it runs for you. So yeah, I'm not very happy with the performance of the Dreamcade arcade menu, whatever you want to call it. The front end is very problematic. I mean, they have been releasing updates so far. They're up to update 1.2, which has added various improvements to the controls, but as you can see, I still find it problematic. So I think they've got a long way to go to make this a really, user-friendly, pick up and go kind of unit. Also find that when I'm kind of loading up games within a certain category, it tends to freeze. So yeah, it's just easier for me just to drop back out of it into Windows to run the games that I want to play. So yeah, here we go. Soul Calibur, running on Dolphin, the GameCube emulator. Excuse me in the background. I set up the Dreamcade replay in the bedroom because I've got way too many things hooked up to my living room TV. It's a headache. So yeah, we're just gonna run it in the bedroom. Besides, who doesn't like to play retro games in bed? I do. So yeah, as you can see, in the top left hand corner, you can see the FPS. And these are the loading screens, so I'm not too fussed whether it jumps up and down. What we want to see is a consistent frame rate within the gameplay. So at the moment it's running 50 FPS, and I've been finding playing this game that it does jump around quite a bit. So initially you can see it drop right down to 20 frames per second. But as I'm playing on, the FPS is improving. So it's becoming a little bit more consistent. The frame rate is getting a little bit higher. It's just kind of bouncing between 45 and 50 FPS. So it's actually a playable experience, as opposed to if it was jumping from 50 to 20, it'd be a completely jerky, horrible mess of an experience, which should be no fun for anybody. But I'm very impressed how it's running, given that this is low-end hardware. So basically, this is just a low-end Apollo Lake, 2 GHz Intel CPU running a Intel integrated graphics 500 GPU. So it's not top-end hardware, but it's more than capable of running N64 games very well. As you can see, can touch on the GameCube games. It runs it sufficiently well. So in that respect, I'm fairly happy. It's very competent with what it's doing when it comes to those kind of consoles. And obviously, the 16-bit consoles, no problem. 8-bit, everything before that, not a problem. Just obviously everything after that can be problematic or just won't work, which is fair play. I mean, the Dreamcast doesn't run very well. But the GameCube, if you're a big fan of the GameCube, N64, you're going to love this. So this is Super Mario Strikers. This is a fun little game. Basically, it's a football game. Sorry, soccer game in the US. It's kind of cool. I mean, it's very basic. It's a lot of fun. It's very silly, very slapstick. But it's a perfect demonstration of how well this emulator can run on this hardware. As you can see, the load times are somewhat long. But as you can see, it runs all the graphical elements. Let me get that right. Elements. Very well, no glitches, no screen tearing. It runs it very well. So we got 60 FPS. I mean, he's jumping around a little bit, but it's not too bad. It stays in the high 50s, early 60s, which makes it a very playable experience. And as you can see, this game is a lot of fun. It's very silly. But anyway, guys, that's a brief look. You know, by the way, if you know anything about these settings for the Dolphin Emulator, let me know. If I'm going to improve it, get a little bit more horsepower out of this, get a little bit more efficient. Anyway, if you want to see any more videos like this, please let me know. Please like, subscribe. Have a good day. Take care. Peace.